Okay, so we opened this week at $9,600 for Bitcoin. This is just really quick. This is the one-day chart. So each one of these candles represents one day. So as you can see right here, we opened at, well, I can't go over there. We opened at 9,600 and currently we're sitting at, I need that thing to move. Currently we're sitting at just above 11,400. So if you would have bought in at the beginning of last week, you'd be up just about 18%. So to dive into that a little bit more, sorry, I have different charts on different things. Okay, so as you can see, we've been going down in a bear channel. That's what these two red lines represent. And so this started back in December 17th when we saw some pretty big sell-offs. And as I said, we've been downtrending ever since then. But this week, some cool things have happened. So back on February 18th, we started a downward pennant. These are more bullish, falling pennants, or it's a falling wedge. Falling wedges have the tendency to be bullish, where usually at about 2/3 of the way, you'll break out in an upward movement. So as you can see, that's exactly what happened. So we broke out, moved upwards, and then entered into a smaller, more little brother falling wedge, if you will. And we broke out of that one again. So we've been moving up since the 25th of February. And I was a little worried about, as you can see in the red here, we were forming a rising pennant, and those tend to be bearish. I was a little worried about that, but we did break down, but we recovered pretty quickly here today. Moving forward, we're coming up upon a big resistance level here at around the 11,700. As you can see, that was the recent high back here on February 20th, in which we got rejected and came back down. So if we break through this, it'll be pretty big. And then the next areas we're looking at are around 12,800. There's a lot of resistance there. So it'll be really interesting to see how we're going over the next few weeks. Overall, I think there's a good chance we can break through it. RSI, which is a relative strength index, is trending upward. So that's pretty positive. To jump over to Ethereum really quick. Ethereum was pretty boring this week. We opened at like $830 and we're sitting at $860. Pretty much nothing happened with it this week. So then to jump over to just some big news that's going on this week. Some of the top stories are banks are citing cryptocurrencies as a business risk in their annual reports. So this can be taken kind of in two sides. One, that is a pretty big breakthrough that banks are starting to really realize that this is real and this is happening. But at the same time, the annual reports are pretty lenient. They pretty much throw anything in there that they think possibly could be a risk. So at the same time, the fact that it's in there, you should take that almost as a grain of salt. The other big thing is Circle announced Monday that it has acquired the US-based cryptocurrency exchange Poloniex. And so that was basically confirming some recent rumors about this. Some main takeaways here are they want to expand the exchange. The users should not see any disruption to their current service. And they paid roughly $40 million, which is I believe one of the biggest M&As in the crypto space that we've seen so far. And then finally, the SEC is continuing to probe ICOs. They've been subpoenaing quite a few ICOs and asking for just a massive amount of paperwork, or asking these people to quote unquote come in and talk, basically. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out over the next couple of months. Basically, the SEC is trying to wrap its arms around this explosive growth. We've had about roughly $8 billion of ICOs, and most of that has happened in the past year. So it's just gonna be really interesting to see how the SEC goes about this over the next couple of months. So that's it for market news. Here's the articles that I was looking at in terms of above. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Do you think that like the SEC probing a lot of ICOs, I think they had sent out like 800 subpoenas?
Yeah.
Do you think that had the effect on Ethereum not trending upward with Bitcoin?
It probably, I would say it definitely dampened it to some extent, but at the same time, at least from the research I've read, that, and I know this has been changing recently, but a lot of times people have said if you look at Ethereum to Bit, that exchange, it's a pretty good telltale of where we are in Bitcoin going up versus altcoins going up. And right now, Ethereum's going down relative to Bit because we have seen it started to go up. But I think alts will start to pump here somewhat soon. A lot of people on Twitter are saying that as well. So it's kind of the consensus, if you will, that we're starting to go into an alt season. But again, this is the first. I've just recently really started tracking all of this, so the first cycle switch that I'm experiencing. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think we'll see alts bleed for a little bit longer. Personally, I can show you the. If you want to see it, you can look at the. So if we look at ETH to Bit, which again is a good way to tell where we are in the market cycles. The value of Ether's been going down in comparison to Bit. I think we're going to go down a little bit more here. You can see this level of support on. I think we'll go down and hit that because that's also, without getting into too much technicality here, this line has a lot of support and resistance from previous areas, and it's the 50% fib retracement zone. Which basically Fibonacci retracement zones are basically just percentage for like high probability retracement zones after either a big upswing or downswing. So combine the 50% fib with a lot of support and resistance. I think it's just a pretty good support level here. So yeah, I guess that's my kind of take. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it definitely did. So it sounds like Bitcoin's gonna continue to rise for a little bit. Altcoins are gonna be
depending on if we can break through that 11,700 resistance level. If that gets rejected, I could see us dropping back down to either 10.3 or 9.8. But so far, when we have come to resistance levels, we've only dropped down, and the previous support has held. And that's been going for the past 2 or 3 weeks. So I think I'm definitely a little bit more bullish right now. But as I said, this is I've just started to really track this over the watching the charts every day. So it'll be still in a novice phase on all of this. But yeah, I think we have a good possibility of breaking through.
I like it. I like the TA added part to market news. Kind of spices it up a little bit.
Yeah, I figured I could give just a week in review, kind of what price is happening. I took a deep dive into volume this weekend, so I'm going to start trying to work that in as well, because right now I've just been doing a lot of price action. Volume's supposed to be able to confirm trends, so should just get better as the weeks go on.
Yeah, that was a good presentation.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
Cool. Sorry. My computer lost Wi-Fi connection, so I'm on my phone now. I was just curious. I saw quite a bit of news this last week or two about Telegram Open Network. Have you guys heard much about that, or do you have any sort of opinion on that?
A little bit. I haven't read too much into it, other than I know that they're going to be having an ICO.
Right. They've raised apparently $750 million pre-ICO. It's like before even pre-ICO. This is like family and friends investors. They're targeting about a $2 billion raise. So it's going to be pretty substantial. Effectively, they're trying to be like a worldwide WeChat, but on the blockchain. So offering like micro payment services, basically like a Venmo plus a messaging service plus some way to use these tokens on an open public ledger. So with that amount of money, it'll be really interesting to see like the talent that they can procure and where their project goes. But I just didn't know if you guys had any strong opinions on it.
I mean, I was just gonna say they're pretty heavy into the crypto space with all the, paid
Definitely.
and everything else. I think a lot of people, connect Telegram and crypto together. So,
Absolutely. They have a leg up because most people on Telegram are there for crypto.
yeah.
And if you're turning that platform into a cryptocurrency platform, then you've effectively already onboarded your entire user base. Sweet.
Yeah. Do you have any other insights into it, Chisel?
No, I just kind of spent an hour or so reading articles and seeing like what they were about. People have leaked their white paper, or at least parts of it, so you can see kind of what they're trying to do. And it seems really, the thing that gets me excited is it seems really well intended. Like, don't get me wrong, they're raising a lot of money, maybe too much money, but it seems like they really want this very open network where everything's transparent, and people can leverage their applications. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here. One thing that I thought was interesting is they have a bit of an IPO approach, in the sense that to their investors, they gave like a list of risks, basically saying, hey, like they outline like, hey, if we don't build this blockchain, here's what the refund is going to be like. They outline like, hey, if we run out of money and we don't build this blockchain, you won't get a refund. So just like kind of all these different things that really took a much more structured approach than we've seen in any of these raises, even if they were all pre-sale, like Filecoin or something of that nature. So it's interesting how like they're trying to comply more with regulation day by day, especially these big sales that are afraid of these lawsuits that are happening to Tezos and whatnot.
It's pretty interesting. At least it's pretty cool. I'm sure they're trying to cover their butts too, with the SEC cracking down a lot more.
Definitely, yeah. So they're it's definitely interesting. Yeah, that's all I got.